there, welcome to this problem set where we take a look at an income statement, and we're not going to look at this necessarily for how we build one, but we will be looking at it from the standpoint of how the math works on an income statement. So let's take a look at this. So here's your problem. The problem that has been given to you is we have these various elements that are from an income statement, and we have different scenarios here. And we have some question marks on some items that we want to fill in that are missing from our income statement. So in general, on the left-hand side, when you're looking at an income statement, this is how the general flow will go. So if you go to Yahoo Finance and take a look at any publicly traded company that you're interested in, they will have a revenue or sales line. Then you will subtract from that cost of goods sold. Do not be surprised if you look at Yahoo Finance and this says cost of revenue. They're both the same thing. And then when you subtract cost of goods sold from revenue, you will get gross profit. Then you subtract from gross profit the operating expenses, and that's where you come to that bottom line net income or net loss on your income statement. So this problem is taking a look at an income statement and saying, okay, so if we have, for example, in scenario one, if we have $75,600 in revenue and we have a gross profit of $32,000, then what was, let's back into what our cost of goods sold was. And so that's basically what this is doing. It's just asking you to do the math in different ways so that it's solidified in your mind how an income statement is flowing as far as calculations go. So let's take a look at scenario one then. In order to back into the cost of goods sold, we would take the sales and we would subtract the gross profit in order to back into that number. So if we take the $75,600 and subtract from it $32,000, we get the $43,600. And the way to check that is to do the normal math. We say $75,600 minus $43,600 equals $32,000. Then, in order to come up with the operating expenses, to back into that one, we would take the gross profit and subtract then the net income to back into that number. Then we can check our math using the normal mathematical equation, and we can say, okay, so 32,000 minus 20,800 equals $11,200. In scenario two, we have, at least part of this is doing the normal math. So for the gross profit of $110,500, we subtract the cost of goods sold, $72,000. And by doing that, we come up with a gross profit of $38,500. Then we have to kind of back into what the operating expenses are. So we take the gross profit, subtract the net income, and back into that number, which gives us $8,500. Then we can do the math the normal way just to check that we've done this appropriately. We can take gross profit, $38,500 minus the $8,500 gives us the net income of $30,000, which is what has been given to us. And then finally, in scenario three, we're having to back into the revenue. So in order to do that, we already have the cost of goods sold, we already have the gross profit, so we add those together. And that gives us our revenue number. And so when you do that, we come up with a number of $194,100. Then let's do the normal math to make sure that we're coming to that gross profit that's already been given to us. So we take the $194,100, subtract $82,300, and we arrive at $111,800. Then finally, we will do our normal math to come up with the net income, because we've been given operating expenses, so we take that gross profit, subtract the operating expenses, and we have a net income of $53,300. So if you run into problems where it has these little question marks, it's basically a math exercise to make sure that you understand what the normal mathematics is and then it's asking you to do the math in order to back into certain numbers that are missing in the assignment. So with that, I hope that helps, and if you have any questions, please leave them below. I appreciate it. Talk to you soon.